Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for Renaissance Periodization. Welcome to Hypertrophy Myths number 1. Pretty open-ended series here. Might have about 1 trillion of them after this, but at least 10. In any case, the first myth is you gotta keep the traps out of the side delt training, brah. When we examine this myth, we are going to talk about what the myth really is, properly defined. We're going to talk about maybe make some good points, as almost all myths do, and talk about the bad points, which all myths have, mostly bad points, and then just a little real talk to sum it up and kind of give you guys some active recommendations. So the claim is you have to keep the traps out of side delt training, and the supposed rationale is oftentimes that the traps will take over and rob your side delts of gains. So what is the good stuff here? What is the grain of truth? And that's definitely true that there are different ways to work side delts that help the traps become more or less engaged. And if you're really interested, you can train your side delts in a way that, compared to all of the other realistic options, engage your traps the least. Definitely possible, totally if needed. And it's also possible to have a physique that is so trap dominant and so small in the side delts that it kind of looks super cool, but narrow. That's the complaint that bodybuilding judges sometimes have, is big traps and smaller side delts can make a physique look more narrow. It's kind of an illusion there, right? What they're saying is if the traps were smaller and even if the side delts were no bigger, the physique would look wider because the traps don't have that narrowing, elongating effect. It's a fine critique and definitely true in some cases. However, what is the bad? Well, there are at least 3 problems here. Problem number 1 is that if you really focus on taking the traps out of side delt work, you're going to rob the side delts of the exercises and the features of exercises that often give them the highest raw stimulus magnitude, like the real punching power to get your side delts big, and even the best stimulus to fatigue ratios, right? A similar thing to how involved your traps are with various lateral raises and side delt work is how involved your glutes are with quad work. If you said, look, my glutes, I don't want my glutes taking over my leg presses and my hack squats and my squats. I want to train my quads in a way that's only quads. You're just down to leg extensions, and nobody really builds big ass quads with just leg extensions, unless you're some kind of genetic freak. It's just like taking away all your best exercises. And because you're so scared that your glutes are going to get too big, you actually just have small quads because you do shitty quad training. Now, if you did hack squats and leg presses and squats in such a way that minimizes your glute involvement, but still accepts that some large amount of glute involvement is critical to even be able to overload the quads, then you're going to be getting great results. But there's only so much glute minimization you can have in a quad program until it really gets in the way of training quads. And the same thing is true for side delts and traps. You be careful taking traps too much out of side delts because you could pull away all the good stuff. It's like ordering a soup at a restaurant and be like, I don't want peas, I don't want carrots in it, I don't want potatoes, I don't want blah, it's too much fat. And they go, whoop, and then it's just water, like salt, but not too much salt, right? So it's barely salted water, but that's not what you ordered. That's not what's going to, heal up the old tummy pains or however people speak to other humans about hunger. It's a bad deal. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And one of the ways in which this happens is an easy way to reduce the trap involvement is to reduce the range of motion to some extent. So if you only bring your arm up to about here and down and here, the traps don't become as active. There's a lot of good stuff going on. That's when your side delts actually activate the most here and here. Down here, they're not very active, but relatively more active than the traps. So it's kind of like, all right, this is shitty side delt training if you want it. Oh, but good news, your traps won't grow hardly at all. Okay, is that really the idea? Another thing is also reduction in central drive. There are ways and techniques to do, for example, if you're doing lateral raises to a small range of motion, but you're behind the plane of your body, it actually barely touches your traps at all in that way. But if you really try, your traps will be activated anyway because they are designed by evolution to work synergistically with your side delts to do this, okay? And if you try to turn them off while turning your side delts on, it is possible, but it so much reduces what's called your central drive, the amount of fucking oomph you put into a lift, that the motor units, the parts of the muscle and the nerves that innervate them in the side delts that are the most prone to growth, they're kind of saying a cigarette break. They don't even care. They're not even on, so they won't really grow. Like if you're not calling the big guns because you're like, oh, gotta do my trap exercise, or side delt's big, but I don't want my traps real big, and I'm gonna struggle. Oh, no, I feel my traps engaging. Oh, I gotta take it easy. Well, then your side delts are taking it easy too. Relatively speaking, they're getting more work than your traps, but like absolutely, they could be getting this much with your traps this much, and you could just be jacked all over. So it's an interesting trade-off to make in some respects. Next problem is traps cannot take over for the side delts. That's physically impossible because the side delts go from your shoulder to your actual arm bone here. They are the only muscle that is able to do this part. Okay. Now the whole retracting and elevating thing, yes, your traps do that, but your traps can't actually, if you just turned on your traps to lift your elbow, this is as far as it would go. This whole thing here, that's side delts. So when people say like, oh, I feel like my traps are taking over, no. They are contributing, but the side delts are as active as they ever would be. It's just that there's a lot of trap coming along for the ride as well. And this is exactly to point number 3. Here's a problem you probably don't have: excessively large traps. God damn it, 99 out of 100 people that have ever asked me on the fucking gram, Dr. Mike, my traps are too involved, whatever, I want less trap activation for my side delts. What is the first thing I do? I click on their motherfucking profile and peep that shit. Motherfucker, you don't even have traps. Get out of my face, you pencil-neck motherfucker. What is this, a Harry Potter lookalike contest? You need traps and side delts. You need to isolate diddly dick, man, unless you're Goldberg from WWE back in the day. One of my people. That's right. What's up, Jewish family? In any case, I used to consider myself one of the toughest Jews in existence. Then I realized the Mossad exists, Sayeret Matkal exists, the entire Israeli military, most other Jews, and definitely Goldberg because he's super jacked. In any case, if you're a Goldberg or Tom Hardy from Warrior or some shit, fine, I get it. More side delts, less traps. But you're probably not that. And you could probably get really huge side delts and traps if you just train them with the exercises that work the best for both. That's it. So a lot of the people asking this, like, I get it. If you're a pro bodybuilder, you come up to Jared Feather at Dragon's Lair in Vegas and you're like, hey, man, I don't want anyone else to hear this, but is there any way I can get my side delts bigger without making my traps bigger? Like Jared will be like, yeah, like here's a few ways, right? But you're probably not that person. I don't mean to get personal with you. That's you watching this or listening to it. You probably don't have this problem. I don't have this problem, right? You know what I'm saying? Your boy out here with these traps, I could use bigger everything, right? So that is what it is. How do we real talk this? How do we wrap this up? If you are worried about trap growth really off-balancing your physique in proportion to side delts, you can be concerned with choosing modifying movements that reduce trap involvement. I just sort of clue you in. If you get your arms behind you and you do partials here, that's probably one of the better ways to do it. There's other people way, way more involved in this side. The biomechanist people, just go ask them that question, right? Go on YouTube, type biomechanics, traps, delts, whatever, some shit will come up. Some of it's crazy people saying stupid shit. You'll get a couple gems in there. The reason I haven't invested myself in figuring out exercises that best train the side delts without engaging in traps as much is because of this next point. For 99% of us, which is like who I'm talking to, no normal side delt trainings hit the fucking side delts hard and they're going to make them grow and it's going to be great. And then don't worry about that. It also hits the traps. Like when I'm doing hack squats and I get a quad pump of my life, I don't turn in the mirror and go, oh, fuck, but it's hitting my glutes. Oh no, my glutes are going to be too big. What does it even mean? I don't know if I've ever seen a person with traps that are too big. Even Goldberg from WWE, whose traps touched his ears, I was always like, God damn, I kind of look like that. Like, is that really something you're super averse to? And by the way, because we have maybe one or two females in the audience, girls being like, oh, like I just want to hit my side delts without my traps. Like, again, if you compete in figure, this is valid. And I encourage you to go seek out the advice that other than the one I just gave of how to minimize trap involvement, maximize side delts involvement. But if you're just a girl trying to get jacked, the whole like, oh, I don't want traps because they're masculine. Bitch, what about big ass side delts? You think them shits is feminine? Fuck up out of here. Just get fucking jacked. And if you're with actual man or woman that likes the fucking female form in their fucking prime, ain't no little itty bitty trap's gonna scare off anyone. And the people they do scare off should be fucking scared off, because get out of here, kid. Grow up. You're ready to date a real woman. Like me. Oop, I forgot to shave all of my body hair. In any case, here's the thing. There's a really cool, neat puzzle solution to this, and here it is. You don't have to worry about this dichotomy of traps too big, delts, blah, blah, blah. Train the side delts hard as fuck. They will grow. Your traps will also grow, but check this out. Take all of your trap training and just throw it away. 2 birds, 1 stone. You hit the fucking delts hard with proper side delt work, and it gives you just enough trap volume to get your traps to grow a little bit, but not too much. And then it's a self-solving problem. So it turns out you actually probably don't need to be looking for exercises that minimize trap involvement on side delt work. You just need to be taking all the trap work and throwing it the fuck away out of your program. Ta-da! Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Before I go, look, if your traps are too big and it's just worrying you all the time, 1-800-TRAPS too big. It's a hotline. I'll probably pick up the phone, or one of my associates, Scott the video guy, will do it, and we'll talk you through it. Namaste. We're here with you all the way through your terrible journey of excessively large traps. See you guys next time.